when I find myself yet again gripped with that limiting experience, then what can I do? I have to investigate it. I have to investigate it. If I just turn my back on it and say, no, I'm awareness, that's, I think, what we may refer to as the spiritual bypass. I mean, it ain't going to work. No. Because what we're doing then is we're just adopting a sort of other separate self position, which is a spiritual separate self. So so it's lovely to attend to experience and to welcome these layers of feelings and thoughts that perpetuate the belief in separation. I find it a beautiful, sacred activity, sort of delivering our experience of this belief by offering up our experience to the light, really allowing it, not placing any demands on our experience, letting it reveal itself for what it is. And we never find a separate self there when we allow our experience to blossom in our presence.
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today I'll be interviewing Ellen Emmet. 25 years ago, Ellen Emmet recognized the eternal, limitless, and universal nature of our shared reality. Ellen offers meetings and retreats in the awakening body, a direct exploration of experience based on the non-dual tradition of Kashmir Shaivism and self-inquiry. In addition, she has a private practice as a psychotherapist and is a facilitator of authentic movement. In your experience, what is the nature of awareness?
Starting at the deep end, or
yes,
maybe
I'd
not.
like to start. Well, we'll see where it goes.
Actually, you're just starting where we are.
Right.
What is the nature of awareness? Well, I could spew out so many sort of words that I don't know about our audience here, but I could say many things, but I want to say that the nature of awareness, I don't know what the nature of awareness is. In other words, the nature of awareness is whatever that is revealed when I suspend any knowledge, any sort of conceptual knowledge of my experience. So perhaps I also mean that to approach the nature of awareness, I think something like suspending any knowledge, to discover eventually that which I am, the nature of awareness, first of all, awareness being what I am, is not what I think and feel myself to be habitually. And what I think and feel myself to be habitually is obviously limited, was born, will die, all these things that we associate with myself. So the nature of awareness would be exactly not that. Exactly not that. Ever present, unlocated, not an experience, never appears on the radar of experience, yet is that through which all experience is known. I could go on like this.
That wouldn't bother me at all. Yeah. Now, but
I think I just feel like we have to discover it, and if we say it, if we deliver the words, sometimes it can be misleading. People will then sort of try to manufacture that experience of unlocatedness, of openness, of ever-presentness. And really, awareness is what we are deeply, and we have to discover what that is.
Yes. Well, I very well put. Again, it's our preconceived notions about what it is are the opposite. It's so weird. The mind is always trying to help, but its attempts to help are usually doing the exact opposite.
Yes, that's true. I mean, unless the mind is harnessed to a process of what Francis refers to as higher reasoning,
Yes.
which in that case the mind is helpful. Or when the mind is inspired, spontaneous thought about truth, about awareness sometimes arises, a poetic insight. But yes, most of the time the mind is definitely a bit of a cluttering device between myself and myself.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that the spontaneous is always the most authentic. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes. Well, spontaneous and authentic are sort of synonymous, aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, I like to explore experience. I like to explore the realm of feeling and sensation and tactility. And when you start to attend to that realm, you really discover that experience, whether it be a sensation, as a sense perception, or a thought, by the way, arises spontaneously. Every thought arises spontaneously, fresh out of awareness. But sometimes it's a little bit more, let's say, unmediated by memory, or unmediated by something that's a little bit less fresh, which is still arising out of awareness.
That's right.
It's all spontaneous in the end,
yes.
but sometimes it seems not to be so spontaneous. Sometimes it's...
Well, it's interesting. Even the pattern thinking is still spontaneous in my experience, and it's just that it's more colored by anticipation and expectation. But isn't that still spontaneous?
Yes, exactly. And in contemplation or in meditation, when you take your stand, sort of, when you broaden your focus, when you open the lens and you attend to your experience without any preconception, you will watch the preconceptions arise. You will watch the agendas arise. The thought activity will continue, but somehow you'll have disassociated yourself with that activity on some level.
Yes.
And also perhaps seen how a preconception or an agenda on a more subtle level, on a feeling level, it's a tension, it's a grasping, it's a reaching, so there's many layers to the mind. It's not just a thought. It's got all these kind of levels. It's also sensation. It's a whole world, I guess, of experience.
Yes. Very much so. And I think it's incredibly important to pay attention to all of it. Yes, of course, we want to keep our focus on that which is changeless as best we can. That's one of the useful things the mind can do, is to help us in that endeavor. But at the same time, if we're ignoring the mind, or we're denying the sensations in the body, they seem to come back up and keep reasserting themselves. And they become more of a distraction, as opposed to disappearing just because we're ignoring them.
Yes, of course. Well, but as long as, at some point we don't have to pay attention to our experience. Why? Because our experience is just sort of floating around without tugging at our attention too strongly. But we have to attend to those experiences, be them of the mind or the body or both. That those experiences that say I'm you, a feeling in the body that seems to be me, the fear that I may be experiencing, the anxiety, the sense of lack, the agitation, which will be accompanied by a line of thought, a story. And so all of those kinds of experiences won't let go. They will tug at us. Why? Because we're stuck to them, because we are identified. So those, definitely need some attention. And it's, that's as my teacher says, Francis, that's the yoga. That's the time for investigation. When I'm suffering, meaning when I'm with the belief that I'm a separate self, And yet I know I'm not, because I have had the grace to be exposed to have had a glimpse or have been exposed to the understanding that what I am is not separate. But when I find myself yet again gripped with that limiting experience, then what can I do? I have to investigate it. I have to investigate it. If I just turn my back on it and say, no, I'm awareness, that's, I think, what we may refer to as the spiritual bypass. I mean, it ain't going to work.
No.
Because what we're doing then is we're just adopting a sort of other separate self position, which is a spiritual separate self, saying, you know,
Right.
So yes, we have to attend, and it's lovely to attend to experience and to welcome these layers of feelings and thoughts that perpetuate the belief in separation. I find it a beautiful. It's like a sacred activity, sort of delivering our experience of this belief by offering up our experience to the light, really allowing it, not placing any demands on our experience, letting it reveal itself for what it is. And we never find a separate self there when we allow our experience to blossom in our presence.
Yes, that it becomes transparent.
Yes. But it might then, these patterns are quite deep, so it becomes transparent, and then off we go again into our lives, and here it is again.
Right. Well, I grew up attending to that. Grew up in this space because the Sedona method is about attending to those in a way to see through them and let them go. And that can be done from a perspective of being a separate individual trying to gain freedom and to let go of any sense of limitation. But it also can be approached from the perspective of that which you truly are, as just a way of allowing the layers of places where we still get attracted to that separate identity to dissolve. And it's kind of fun to attend to it from both places, because people come to our work. Some people come to our work only because there's some pain or suffering or desire they want to satisfy. Mm-hmm. And then inevitably they get led in a very different direction as the whole thing unfolds. Yes.
I mean, I feel like I think I agree with you that there's two sort of possibility when you're exploring like this. And the first possibility is that you sort of start from the truth, as you said, from the sort of positionless position of awareness. And then you welcome your experience such as it is. And because in awareness, as awareness, the past, the future are simply not relevant.
Right.
So a thought or a feeling that usually in ordinary life would be accompanied with a story, you would be referring to the past, you'd be projecting in the future. Here in meditation, you could say in that placeless place that you have sort of adopted. I mean, of course, you're doing it perhaps not completely, because taking your stand as awareness is still a doing. I mean, awareness is awareness, but nevertheless, it's this beautiful intention that you sort of place yourself, you align yourself with what you know to be true. And then, yes, welcoming these experiences fresh in the now. And there's such a directness to that process because you're not analyzing or dismantling or drawing connections past and future. You're just, a feeling is directly experienced, it's raw. It's seen for what it is, a sensation, a tingling, an intensity arising in a field of you could say a field of vibration or a openness. And that scene sort of effortlessly purifies the feeling that was so charged with me-ness. It was a me, but because it's been fully allowed, the me that seemed to be embedded within it is returned to the real me of awareness. All this, I'm explaining it, but
yes, but again, we're using words.
yes. But then I feel like there's another possibility as a truth lover, which is to explore our relative experience, through therapeutic modalities or through dream work, or where we're more we get a bit more interested in the story. We actually do acknowledge the past and the fact of a future, and we know that. So we're operating from the point of view of the wave, of course. So awareness being the ocean. We're not denying that there is a wave here called Ellen or Hale, and we honor the trajectory of that wave. We're interested, and we don't dissolve everything directly back to awareness. We explore things. We look a little bit more at the complexity of what I think every person is quite complex.
Yes.
But we don't do it to perpetuate the me. We do it rather to allow this wave to breathe more freely, to look down and say, oh yes, my essential reality is the ocean. But oh, look, I'm this shape and I have this characteristic, and just to really sort of honor our God-given nature, individual nature.
Yes.
I'm not sure you were saying that exactly, Hale. I think
I like the way you said it better. But I was referring to a similar thing. What I found is that in the beginning, most people come to this exploration either to get rid of pain or to move towards something they think is going to be better.
Yes.
And they do it from the point of view of being an individual. They don't reason from the truth, they reason towards the truth. And then what this beautiful transformation happens as people discover more of the truth of who they are, then everything comes from that.
That's right.
And that's so much easier and so much more natural and so much more flowing and so much more open. And it gets harder to go back to, as hard as it was to try to see it from this more expanded point of view, it becomes harder to go back to the limited point of view from that perspective.
Yes.
There's nothing for it to hold on to.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that. Although I think to begin with, it's a back and forth, I think.
Yes.
I do love the way you described that. To begin with, we're suffering, most of us. We start on this journey and we're longing for relief, really, basically. Give me relief. Right. But there's something maybe deeper there often when you embark on that path. And then at some point, there's a revelation. Something is revealed that was obviously always here, but through the words of a teacher or the Sedona method, whatever it is, there's... and at that moment, you can never go back. It's true. You can never really go back.
Right.
Because that yes that you feel when you encounter yourself via a teaching or a teacher or via the grace, it's a yes. It's a resounding yes. But nevertheless, at least in my humble experience, a lot of back and forth for a long time. But so you might feel yourself right back in the small kind of straitjacket of the separate self, reaching again for relief from the place of suffering.
Yes.
But actually, the veil is much thinner.
Yes.
It just takes, Yeah. But also I find that sometimes again, I can only speak from my experience and the experience of the people that come to my meetings or that I encounter, that sometimes it's not that you go back to the separate self, but you go back to the person, and you embark on a less direct. You're exploring something. You're not in such a hurry to go back to the absolute, because you know that you are awareness, but you want to take the meandering path because you're interested in psychology. For example, in my case, I'm very interested in psychology. When I encountered the non-dual teaching, I thought, shoot, what am I going to do with this?
Right.
But now it's like not a conflict anymore. I see clients. I've been myself in Jungian work, and because it's more like a delighting in the creation, in this creation that we are, and being interested also in what is suffering. What is it, this suffering? I don't want to get rid of it too quickly. I want to understand what it is. What is it to be human? What is this thing that we call the shadow?
Yes.
Why be in such a hurry to dissolve it? Once you know that it's really all made out of the same stuff, let's look at this play of shade and light, and feel this human adventure. Really feel, that's me, but
No, but I think it's a not always a valid way to approach this. I think a lot of people will resonate with that because most of us, it's either black or white. Lester Levinson used to say to me, life isn't black or white, it's gray. And when he said that to me, and this is years ago, before I started really tasting non-dual awareness, I really didn't like that. I wanted to have a box for everything. I wanted it to either be black or white, right or wrong, good or bad. I thought that those were real distinctions.
Yes.
And as you recognize that, although I don't like gray because there's a connotation to that, but there's something beyond gray. There's just what is as it is unfolding.
That's right.
And sometimes there's more form to it. Sometimes it requires attention. And sometimes there's just this exquisite, flowing, now indescribably delicious what is.
That's right.
And in the background, that's always what's there anyway. But even when in the foreground, it looks like there's a disaster or whatever it is.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes the intensity that may arise in the form of feelings, emotions. I think our culture is so sort of gives precedence to thinking. So we may have lost a sort of connection with the capacity to feel directly, to be I don't even know how to put it into words. It's not to be with, it's more direct than that, to really not mediate experience always with concepts, to not knowing, but for the body, the so-called body, and of course that's a big question, what is the body? But the sensing, the tactility, this capacity that we have to experience life. It's an art, I think, to allow that without taking a position of aversion or a preference. How can I allow this life, the full intensity, and dance? It's like a dance, to dance with life, or to be danced by life. And of course, inevitably at some point, no, I can't, or I want to stay here forever. So, and then again, no, that's not how it is. And discovering again, no, it's just this surfing. But I could go on, but I don't know where I'm going with this.
No.
But you understand.
I do. It's a lovely. Yes, you're describing how most people are experiencing, except they don't necessarily aren't able to put it into words.
Yes,
quite that way.
Yes. But in exploring our true nature, I think it's very good to go to the body, to the so-called body, the experience of the body, the experience of tactility and sense perceptions, and really sort of conduct experiments during meditations or during, when we're exploring. So we wouldn't do that in our everyday life, but when we're on a yoga mat, for example, or sitting in a chair attending to our experience, I think it's and I'm not inventing this. I mean, there are traditions that suggest this, that we would align the way we perceive the body and the world with what we know to be true, but not conceptually. So, for example, with the body, the habitual way we feel the body, and I know you know this, is we feel it as limited, as weighted, and we feel that I live within this body, So I am limited. I am this body. So to align our perception of the body with the truth would mean to sort of suggest on a tactile level, as if we had this capacity to speak to the body directly with our tactile language, and to suggest borderlessness, no borders, to suggest weightlessness. And then you evoke that, and then you see what happens. And sometimes it works. The body expands, it feels weightless. The feeling is aligned with the knowledge that I am free of borders. Other times it doesn't work, and no, I feel, and the actual attempt to feel that way reveals layers of holding, and that's also beautiful, because then you let them be here. You welcome them. The welcoming is so important and so mysterious. What does that mean really, to welcome?
Right.
As Francis used to say, you're welcoming, but actually you're standing behind the corner with a 4x5. Right?
It sounds like Francis.
And it's so, you have to be honest, am I really is this welcoming? Of course, the welcoming is effortless when it's true welcoming. But to begin with, it's not so effortless.
It's welcoming with intent, as opposed to welcoming just because that's our basic nature.
That's right.
Yeah, with the 2x4, I love that.
But with the body, and I don't know enough about the Levinson, the
Sedona method.
The Sedona method, but I think it's the same idea of really letting things rise up into the openness.
Yes.
But the openness isn't this kind of empty openness, this vacuum in which a feeling, one discovers that this openness, which is what we are, I can't put it into words, but it's to do with love. It's this unconditional yes saying to everything that arises. But if I say that, it becomes a concept.
Yes.
If I know that firsthand, it's
exactly. It silences all words. Absolutely. So do you, I know you must do this when you're working one-on-one, but do you have anything you can share with us that, including the audience, something, an experiential experiment that you could do with us as an audience that you think would translate in a short enough period of time to do in this format?
How long would you think? Maybe. I'm sure I could. Yes. You're catching me by surprise.
I'm sorry. I just thought of that now. I just thought it'd be. I've been really enjoying our conversation because we approach it from such a similar perspective. But at the same time, I want to include the people who are listening to this, and it sounds nice.
Yes. But what does it actually mean?
Yes. How do I taste it right now? And,
yes.
If there's
Sure.
something you think you can share that would give people at least a sense of that, that would be lovely.
Okay, well, I'm going to invite everyone who's listening now. I know it's later, but
yes,
to just close your eyes and don't do anything. Simply allow the unfolding of your experience. So not doing anything means letting the mind do its thing, let the body be as it is. The world is obviously carrying on. So you're taking a stand as openness. Welcoming the moment by moment unfolding of experience, experiencing being the sound of Ellen's voice, of my voice, the sensations that we call the body, and whatever thoughts may be coming and going. And you have no agenda. When you're in the shrine like this, when you close your eyes, you enter the shrine, and in the shrine, you've let go of your agendas. Or if agendas arise, they're part of what is being welcomed. So you're like the sky, the blue sky, borderless blue sky. And whatever arises in you, the clouds, are free. They have infinite space all around, and nothing is imposed upon them. There's no agenda. And now gently, you bring your attention towards the body. So you're not engaging with a memory of the body or even a sort of visual of the body, just welcoming whatever it is that we refer to as the body in this moment. Hello, body. So if you have no visual, no memory, it's just a flow of tinglings and pulsations, web of tension. Often when we listen to the body, because the body, poor body, is working hard on behalf of the separate self that seems to be living inside this body. I am the body. That's the sort of default belief for many of us, at least to begin with. So when we feel the body, to begin with, we encounter the habit of that, the sort of web of tension, of holding, the feeling of being located behind the eyes or in the forehead. Just be completely open. We're not rushing. Well, we have limited time, but when you do this kind of exploration, no rushing, tasting, just tasting, the discovering. Oh yes, the separate body. Oh yes, I know what she's pointing towards. I feel it in the shoulders and my breath, feeling of being the breather. And now just feel the possibility that rather than living inside the body, it's the other way around. The body is living or appearing in you, the borderlessness. Just send the message to the body, sort of as if you were whispering to it and saying, look, you actually don't have to work on my behalf. You can be free. Body, sweet body. I'm sorry, body, for all the demands I put on you. And then just let this body unwind. It's as if you were taking the corset off, the leash off. Feel the weight of the body. And usually that's another area of identity, my weight. I'm holding myself as a weighted, sort of solid thing. Me, the body. And again, switch, say, oh, no body. You live in me, I am weightless, I am borderless. And so you can empty the body or try just gently with your tactile sense. Feel your legs and your pelvis, letting go into the support of the chair or your arms flowing down. No visual, just sensation. It's safe. You can whisper that to the body. There's a lot of layers of fear in the body / separate self. Why should I let go? How do I know it's safe? You sort of have to take the leap, but be open to the possibility that all around these bodily sensations, it's a field of unconditional, a bath of unconditional friendliness. There's no rush, and I'll stop soon. This is just a little taster, but perhaps one last experiment, just feel the borders of the body, where your skin touches your clothes, or feel the tingling of the air on your face, on your hands. Feel the place where your body touches the back of the chair or the cushion. And again, the habit of sort of feeling that as the border, the boundary, the geography of the separate self. And then just whisper with your tactile sense, no borders, fuzzy borders. Remember, I am unlocated awareness. I don't have a border. So body, you don't have to create a border to defend me or protect me. Fuzzy borders, champagne borders. Now, what I'm suggesting doesn't happen in an instant, and it's not meant to. What it does is it may work, the words may trigger the feeling, or what may happen is, I'm holding on. You may encounter the layers. the deep feelings that live in the body as the separate self. There's no rush. What we are is already always what we are. So maybe that's just a little taste, Hale. I don't know. I didn't quite know how much time.
Oh, no, I thought that was lovely. Really lovely. It was a good taste. And of course, if people were doing this exploration on their own, they could take as much time as they needed to. They wouldn't have to go through all the stages as quickly as we just did.
Yes, we went a bit quickly because it was a little taster. And I mean, this is a very sort of deep exploration. And sometimes it's best to do it with guidance to begin with, perhaps, because it's not necessarily easy to, it's much easier to be guided to begin with.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I'm not advertising for my offering, but just in general, I think people find themselves in groups where they explore like this.
Yes.
Yes. There's so much more I could share, but experientially, but it's true. I mean, it's good that you asked for a little taste, because the talking about doesn't really get to the meat of it. Really, you have to go there. You can't just circle with words. You have to go there.
Yes. As we relax into that which is here and now, it reveals itself to itself in exquisite ways, and sometimes in uncomfortable ways.
Well, to begin with, sometimes.
Yes, in the beginning, the places where we're still identified or still feel contracted around nothing, but still, they need to be allowed. Otherwise, we're doing it around that, and it becomes just another compensation.
Yes, exactly. I mean, those deep feelings, when we encounter them in a meditation, such as we were sharing a little bit of, we're happy, because at that moment we're not with our partner, we're not in a difficult situation with our boss, we're just with a sort of raw contraction that if we were to read the label, there would be a story, there would be the label fear or the label, but here in the meditation, we sort of take the label away, and it's like a big fish that we caught in our net, and then we take the fish and we just place it back in this field of welcoming. We return the body to its true habitat, which is awareness. It's such a loving thing to do that I think once we get the hang of it, so to speak, we can't wait to close our eyes and
do it again.
Yes. But to begin with, it can be difficult, because we've never done it before, and we have to sort of travel through this layers upon layer of resistance and all the habits that a body is made of to perpetuate this sense of separation.
Yes.
But then when the body's liberated, and a body that's freer is such an amazingly vivacious and relaxed and expressive, spontaneous.
Yes.
Not knowing, there's something about exploring the body like this, that then we are more willing to not know what it is we're experiencing, just to experience it.
Yes.
I love how you say yes.
It's interesting, when you were doing that, I also flashed on the first time that Francis did a similar thing with a group of people. This was somewhere around 94 or 93. I can't remember, but it was in the early 90s. And I immediately just, yes. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, me too. It was Francis, I basically sort of, I'm in his tradition.
Yes.
And the Jean Klein, but yes, when I discovered this yoga, because for me, the excavation of the belief in separation was much more a feeling excavation.
Yes.
I'm a girl. No, I'm kidding. But in other words, I enjoyed the higher reasoning and all that, really exploring at the level of the mind. But it was really with the feelings and the tactility that I got really excited excited and engaged and discovered myself.
Yes. I'm actually quite the same way. My inner nature is quite female in that I love that whole part of it. That
yes.
Welcoming is very much a part of the work that we do, because it's natural and it's effortless, and it just things unfold spontaneously and naturally through that.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a sort of, there's one intelligence. There's only one reality, one intelligence. But that reality or intelligence has a way of expressing itself with the body. I want to say it's a vibrational intelligence. It's not so intelligence, how to put this? Awareness is pure intelligence, but of course it's not human intelligence. It's something.
Yes.
But when filtered through the human experience, there's the capacity for insight and reasoning, but then through the body, it's this capacity to. The words fall short. Maybe it's love. It's a sort of love, but it's vibrational. Vibration seems. There's a tactile sense to it, very subtle. And very heartful, very connected to love. Yes. Yes. I love that. There was a book when I was little in France. I was brought up in France, and there was this book for children, and it was called Oui. And he was a little. He was always doing oui.
Yes,
no, you're not right. Like that.
So let's see. We've covered a lot of what I was hoping we'd cover in this in our discussion here. Although I'm enjoying this so much, I could go on and on and on. But again, when you do a podcast, people have just so much attention.
I understand.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that you think would be useful or helpful, or a pointer or a further exploration?
I would just maybe say trust your that our love for truth takes us where we need to go, and sometimes it seems to maybe take us away from the direct pointer, or I would say trust, follow your bliss and trust yourselves. Trust yourselves. But then I want to say, but don't trust yourselves. Trust yourselves, but don't trust yourselves. Discriminate that one that you can fully trust, which is that intention, that pure intention that takes you to podcasts like this, or takes you that takes you to the correct place. And then there's, of course, an intention that is coming more from fear, and so maybe discriminating that, but yes, trusting ourselves.
Yes.
Just trusting life.
Yes. I like to say that there are no mistakes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Just once I remember looking down from a plane and seeing a river. And rivers, you would think, follow their course kind of sort of straight down towards the ocean. But this river was like circling away from the ocean. But of course, it ultimately was going to make its way to the ocean. But it was seeming to take quite a detour. And I thought, gave me permission.
Well, it's also very lifelike.
Yes.
And also our pathless path that we take to this self-discovery sometimes is like that river, where it feels there's still a flowing, there's still this sense of unfoldment, but it doesn't seem as straight line as we think it should be. But but if we kind of sit back and let the let that.
I'm all for me. I love the meanderings.
Right.
I always thought direct path. No, I don't want to take the direct path. In the non-dual circles, it's the direct path. And of course, I abide by the direct path. But part of me goes, let's take a detour.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever walked a labyrinth.
Yes.
It's the same kind of thing. In labyrinths, they're all designed so that at first you feel like you're getting close to the center, and then you go back.
Yes.
And you have these other loops.
Yes.
And eventually, as long as you stay within the path and the labyrinth, you eventually end up at the center.
Yes.
But it's not a straight line.
No.
And there is a beautiful letting go or surrendering that happens if you allow yourself to just simply walk the labyrinth as it's leading you to the
That's
center.
right. It's a humbling process.
Yes.
You have to sort of disrobe of all your ideas, all your spiritual, I got it. Oops. Oh, maybe I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Ellen Emmet. You can learn more about Ellen at ellenemmet.com. That's ELLENEMMET.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor Lester Levinson's work, and the Sedona Method, please visit www.sedona.com. As you explore our site, you'll learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. Again, go to sedona.com. That's SEDONA.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.